Hi guys, welcome back to our STEM racing tutorial. In this episode, we'll introduce how to use and follow the regulations. Fail to pass. This stamp decides your whole process. Red means you don't race, you don't collect racing points, you are basically a spectator with a pit. Green means safe to race, you keep your points and you are in the fight for trophies. The goal of this video is really simple. How do you get green on the first try? This episode is not let's read 50 pages of rules. This is how to turn the rulebook into build steps, measurement steps, and sign-off steps. Here's what we're doing today. How judging and scoring actually work, where the points are, the red line rules that can kill your car, how scrutiny really measures you, and how to write your team's first definition of done, your DOD, so you stop guessing and start passing. Also, scrutiny happens before you ever race. The judges literally go hunting for violations. You basically start with points and they subtract for every failure in specs and safety. So unsafe equals not cleared to race. You can find both competition and technical regulations from the rules and reg section in the team portal. Okay, so before we talk about car design, I want you to understand how you're actually judged at the event. There are 6 main judging categories: scrutiny judging, design engineering judging, project management judging, enterprise judging, verbal presentation judging, racing officials, and track staff interviews. You rotate through these on a schedule. Events often run 2 parallel judging streams, Stream A and Stream B, and each rotation is about 20 to 30 minutes. Scrutiny judging alone is huge. They check both race cars and, at higher levels, spare parts for compliance with the technical regulations. They look at finish and assembly quality, and they review your engineering drawings and renderings. All of that happens in controlled custody called park firm, so you are judged on way more than is it fast or not. The pen charts on the right is how the points stack in regionals and nationals. So if you only chase fast car and ignore compliance, documentation, branding, presentation, and project management, you're throwing away most of the scoreboard. Technical regulations and scrutiny is often the part that gets most of the confusion, so we will mainly elaborate on this in this episode. Now let's talk about the technical rulebook. Most rookie teams treat the rules like punishment. Don't do this, don't do that. This mindset loses. Serious teams treat the technical regulations like a design envelope. The rulebook literally gives you the minimum and maximum limits of the car's performance, and your job is to push right up to those boundaries without crossing them. That's how you get fast and still pass inspection. The regulations also classify rules as general, safety, or performance. General is required form. Safety means must pass to be safe to race. Performance means affects speed and carries heavy penalties. If you break performance rules, you can lose eligibility for fastest car and best engineered car. And in knockout racing, you might only be allowed to run round 1 before being auto-eliminated. So when we say red line, we are talking about rules that can nuke you in scoring, in safety, or in eligibility. Here are the red lines. I concluded the most important areas judges will attack first. These are not all technical points of the regulation, just the most significant ones that you can't fail any. When I say red line, I don't just mean performance rules. I mean anything that if you mess it up, you either get safety flagged or maybe can't race, get instant performance penalties, or bleed judged points. Red lines are teeter line guides, cartridge chamber, wheel spacing and stance, weight and ground setup, halo and team ID decals, and branding and team name. So let's go through them. Tether line guides are safety critical. The rule is you must have exactly 2 tether line guides. One has to be on or up to 10 millimeters in front of the front axle center line. One has to be on or up to 10 millimeters behind the rear axle center line. The race tether must only pass through those 2 guides. The internal opening of each guide must be between 3 millimeters and 6 millimeters. Judges check that with a 3.5 millimeters and 6 millimeters tool. The hole has to be fully closed so that tether can't pop out. And in scrutiny, they hang a 200-gram weight off each guide. If your guide fails, your car is not considered safe to race. The compressed CO2 cartridge chamber is one of the most heavily policed zones on the car. Actually, we lost some points on this back in nationals. The depth, the absolutely minimum is 45 millimeters, and the maximum is 58 millimeters. The angle, with a full 8-gram cartridge inserted and the car sitting on all 4 wheels, the chamber angle must be between -3 to 3 degrees. Safety zone. You have to keep at least 3 millimeters of untouched original model block material around the chamber. If that safety wall is thinner than 3 millimeters, that's a safety problem. Finish. The inside of the chamber must be raw model block material. No paint allowed. And visibility. With the cartridge inserted, it must protrude at least 5 millimeters and be fully visible from the rear. That's 5 millimeters protrusion is an absolute minimum. If you are off there, you can take both safety hits and performance penalties. And that's where we messed up in nationals. And actually, I got the opportunity to fix it before our flight. I added some additional material block materials at the back of, like at the bottom of the cartridge room. And it turned out to be another penalty, but we didn't get a performance penalty, so that's good. Your stance is regulated. Your car must have 4 cylindrical wheels, max 2 in front, max 2 in back. And left, right wheels on each axle must share one axis. Spacing between the 2 front wheels has an absolute minimum of 38 millimeters. Spacing between the 2 rear wheels has an absolute minimum of 30 millimeters. All 4 wheels must touch the track surface at the same time, with a full cartridge inserted, and all 4 wheels must rotate freely on up to a 3-degree incline. If you put the wheels in too tight or for aero, you might start getting performance penalties per millimeter. The roadbook literally calls them performance penalties. Also, weight, ground clearance, and other physical dimensions get checked on your real car, not just CAD. You walk into scootering with a perfect score on that sheet, and they start subtracting points for every violation they find in your body, finish quality, or spare parts. That scootering spec bucket is worth 160 points, so you can literally start losing the competition before racing even begins, just like what I said. Your halo is required. It has to be mounted securely into the car body, and it must remain visible from the front, side, or top in the way the rulebook defines it, because that's a safety element. Your team number has to sit on the body between the front edge of the halo and reference plane A. It must be clearly visible from the top view, and the characters must be at least 8 millimeters tall. Minimum tax height is so that minimum tax height is 8 millimeters. Also, decal stack thickness is capped at 0.5 millimeters. Judges actually do measure this. And the most important thing, the center background color, not of the periphery of the STEM racing sticker, should be contrasting to your car's main color. Almost every single team in the last nationals made this mistake and got 10 points taken off. So my team was actually only 6 points away from the highest scrutineering score this year. And we would be the highest in scrutineering if we didn't make this mistake. This is actually stated very vaguely in the regulation, so you can't really tell what they're expecting you if you didn't have this experience. So please keep this in mind. This is, I think, so far one of the most valuable thing of this video, because you can't get it out from the rulebook, but they still will take the points off if you violate it. You are also not allowed to use protected Formula 1 terms in your official identity. The rulebook bans F1, Formula 1, FIA Formula 1 World Championship, Grand Prix, F1 in schools in your team name, logo, URL, or social handle. If they literally give you an example, if Infinity F1 is not allowed, but Infinity or Team Infinity is fine. Why do I care? Because branding is actually scored under enterprise judging, your portfolio, team identity, and pit display. That's 180 total points on the line. Okay, now let's turn all of that into something you can actually run as a team. Serious teams don't just know the rule. We write the definition of done, the DOD, for each critical area. Definition of done means what must be true before we are allowed to move forward. Here's an example for how you make a DOD sentence. If the rulebook says depth 45 to 58 millimeters, angle -3 to +3 degrees with a full cartridge while the car rests on all four wheels. Safety wall should be bigger or equal than 3 millimeters of untouched monoblock materials around the chamber. Interior should be unpainted. Cartridge protrudes is bigger or equal than 5 millimeters and is fully visible from the rear. So how would you write the DOD sentence? So our DOD sentence should be chamber keeps bigger or equal than 3 millimeters raw material block safety wall. Depth 45 to 58 millimeters. Angle -3 to 3 degrees with full cartridge. Cartridge protrudes more equal or more than 5 millimeters and is fully visible. So this is basically a conclusion of all those regulation points. If a part doesn't match its DOD, it is not done. It does not ship. You should fix it before CAM, machining, assembly, all of it. Okay, so in screw engineering, judges inspect both race cars, and nationals inspect spare parts, check finish and assembly quality, review your engineering drawings and renderings, verify compliance with the technical regulations, all under Park Firm. And they use custom gauges first, then calipers for borderline calls. So copy that workflow before you hand in cars. Your pre-competition toolkit should include a go or not go frame for width, height, and ground clearance, a digital scale for your final weight, and actual spacing jigs so you physically cannot drop below 38 millimeters front and 30 millimeters rear. A 3.5 millimeters pin and a 6 millimeter pin to test tetherline openings, a 200 gram hang test on each tetherline guide. Film it as a proof. I suggest you to do this for all of your prototypes after you machine them in reality. Manufacturing discrepancies are prevalent, so do not sit on the borderlines of the rules when designing the car. Always leave at least 2 millimeters for tolerance. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.